welcome to your Weld County School District 6 Board of Education meeting. It's Monday, May 9th, 2016. This meeting will come to order. Will you join me in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item of business is the roll call. Please, Ms. Brea.
Mr. DeWitt?
Present.
Mr. Haefele?
Present.
Mr. Hall?
Present.
Mr. Lydiak?
I'm sorry, Mr. Lydiak is out of the country tonight.
Ms. Pappas?
Present.
Dr. Richard?
Present.
Mrs. Solis?
Present.
6 members are present.
Thank you. The next item is the Board of Education President announcements, and it'll come as no shock that finals are coming and the end is near. And we want to remind all of our students to think twice, cross the street safely, don't mess it up now. The other thing that I'd like very much to remind listeners on TV and those people in the room that the board has 3 words that we like to kind of focus on as we make our decisions and go about our business: engage, empower, and inspire. And I'm going to cheat tonight by referring to something that's going on in our school district that touches on all three of those words, kind of the trifecta of success in the school district. And that is the National Academy Foundation. It's associated with enhancing the high school experience through vigor and preparation for post-high school life. And Northridge High School, you may have heard of them, here in Greeley, Colorado, has been involved in this identification process through this National Academy Foundation in technology, engineering, science, and math, and has received model status after review by this national organization. It's a national network of education and business and community leaders who've been working since 1982. And Northridge, along with other model academies, will be highlighted at the NAF conference, the national conference, to be held in July in Orlando, Florida. Florida in July. It's a good thing. So we congratulate and express our enthusiasm for Northridge and their success on this program. The next item of business is the hearing of persons desiring to speak before the board, and usually this is a relatively brief experience, but tonight we get to have the pleasure of listening to several individuals with knowledge about the process of seeing the future of the district writ large. And so I will be introducing a few people who are involved in a committee that was brought together to help us assess the possibility of a mill levy override and some other features for the school district. And the first person, who is a Greeley resident, is Ms. Holly Bressler, also a principal with the district. Holly? Accepting the, there he is. Did Holly know that she was going to come up and talk? You'd like to yield your time? No one in this room is mad at you for saying one less speaker. But Holly, thank you very much for your contribution.
We'll hear from Holly a little later.
It's true.
Yes, we will.
2 for the price of 1 on this. Ms. Pat Otto from our Teachers Union, also a Greeley resident and a participant on every level in negotiations and consultations this year.
President DeWitt, Dr. Pilch, members of the board, thank you for allowing me to come up. Tonight I wanted to speak about the Citizens Academy and give you a little report from my perspective from the teacher role that was on the committee. So on behalf of the teachers who were on the Citizens Academy, I would like to report to you on our reflections about the process. So I had 5 things as I thought about what would I tell you in my 3 minutes. We were glad to be included in the process for input around the mill levy override. We felt all parties, community, parents, staff, and administration were actively involved in the process. We felt the information shared by the district was accurate and helpful as we participated in our small group discussions. Each week, the participants were able to work with a new set of members from the large group. We kept getting renumbered each week, so it was nice. We got to mix and mingle with a whole new group of people each time. And these mixed groups allowed for different point of views to be shared and discussed amongst ourselves. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. That's great news. The next presenter or discussant is Jeremy West, also with the district.
I would yield.
Would you yield your time? You will hear from Jeremy West in a few moments, so you're not missing the opportunity to hear his suggestions. The next person on my list is Barb Winery,
She is not yielding her time.
and she will not yield her time.
Barb.
And actually, it's Barbara Winery.
I'm pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you too.
Sorry
And
about the last
good
name.
evening, President DeWitt, Dr. Pilch, and board members. I am Barbara Winery. I'm a member of the community and the League of Women Voters in Greeley-Weld County, and I'm serving on the Citizens Advisory Committee. I've been interested as a participant and an active observer of the process of determining whether or not to put a ballot issue forward. From the very first meeting, I felt there was a different climate and approach from previous occasions when I had participated in the district citizens groups. Starting with the introductions of members of the advisory committee, it was evident that the process was going to be inclusive, collaborative, and that everyone would be respected for their opinions, observations, and contributions to the process. We were introduced to the school district, its mission and goals, and given a balance of data, both qualitative or quantitative, which came from a random sample survey, and summary of qualitative statements compiled from several citizens sessions and district information. Members of the school district team, including charter schools, gave professional presentations based on our request that I felt were transparent and forthcoming about the status of each area in which we were interested. After information was presented to a large group, we had the opportunity to process it in small groups who presented a variety of perspectives. In those small groups, we each had the chance to share our remarks. I was always with a different set of people each time we were divided up, and there were different perspectives and conversations in each, all which seemed to keep in mind student learning and success. Stepping back and reflecting on the process, I felt it was very ground up rather than a top-down one, and that as a result of this approach, we really had ownership of the outcome and recommendations we made to the school district team and school board. As a lifelong educator who has worked as a change agent in education, I know some changes are easier than others, but I do know how difficult it is to change culture. At the end of the last meeting, I left the room feeling that the district had taken a significant step in making the culture change with this process. As a member of this committee, I met and developed new relationships with members of the school district leadership team, teachers, staff, parents, and community leaders, and had learned much more about the district and its charter schools. I am grateful that I was a member of this advisory committee and had the opportunity to serve. I'm very hopeful and optimistic of the work going forward for School District 6 and the Greeley-Evans community as a result of my participation on this committee. It was a very positive experience for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person that I have identified who's interested in speaking is Kristen Stewart.
Good evening, President DeWitt, Dr. Pilch, members of the board. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So I come to you, I am not a member of the committee, but I come to you as a staff member of District 6, going on 9 years, and a parent of children in the school district. And I just wanted to, when I was thinking about what I wanted to say, I searched around for quotes, because quotes speak to me. So I found a quote that I think kind of goes with what the Citizens Advisory Committee has done. It says, "Information can bring you choice, and choices bring power. Educate yourself about your options and choices. Never remain in the dark of ignorance." And that's from Joy Page, who happens to be the daughter of the president of Warner Brothers Studio, and she was also in Casablanca. So when I think about what the committee's done, I think this quote applies to the work they've done in the community to provide the opportunity to the public to be informed and knowledgeable about the possibility of a mill levy being brought as a ballot issue. I've attended 2 of the meetings, one as a staff member and one as a parent of where my children go to school. And I felt that the meetings were very educational around what a mill levy is and around what it would mean for taxpayers and for the community. We also had really great conversation. The meetings opened up a great avenue for people to ask questions, clear up some misconceptions that I've heard, voice their opinion, and allowed for great conversation around why we're even talking about this in our community. I feel they were well publicized, and there was plenty of opportunities for people who wanted their voice to be heard to have an opportunity to do that. I've also seen that online survey being publicized, so I feel like there's an opportunity if people couldn't make it to the meetings that they also have a chance to have their voice heard through taking the survey. I appreciate the effort the committee's gone to allow all voices to be heard and the transparency around the process. So if you go back to the quote, "Information can bring you choice, and educate yourself about options and choices," I feel like the committee has offered the information and the knowledge that we need to be able to make those choices and be informed about that in our community. So thank you.
Thank you very much. In my now altered list of speakers, I have one remaining, and that would be Mr. Watts, Kenneth Watts. Okay.
President DeWitt, Dr. Pilch, members of the school board. I have no notes prepared. I'm just so enthusiastic about doing any work concerning the district that it just flows. The process was amazing. I've never really been involved in a process like this where you have community members, you have educators, you have business owners, parents, teachers, everybody there collaborating together. I've just never seen it. And for me, the highlight was the community meetings. I attended one in Evans, and just to sit there with members of the community and listen to them, their concerns, their questions, and just listening to their input and listening to their enthusiasm about, they want this too. And I'm just really honored to be able to serve on this committee. And I say this as a parent of a student at Brentwood and a granddad of a student at Munford. And we, like the community, really want this. I went into it feeling, I wasn't very hopeful because I heard about the last time, they tried to pass the mill levy override, and I wasn't here yet, but just observing this process, it's just amazing to see that everybody in the community want the same thing. Their desires are our desires, and they just want success. And I just really, really thank you for the opportunity of having us come together and listen and contribute to this process. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so very much. And I've asked the outgoing head of our fundraising organization, the Success for Six, the Success Foundation, to come up. I can't speak in English now, but Judy is going to come up. I had her on a sheet of paper, and I overlooked you, and I apologize, Judy.
No problem. There's lots of stuff here. I like your new digs.
Thank you.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Pilch. I am Judy Crone. I'm a retired District 6 board member and soon-to-be retired executive director of the Success Foundation serving Greeley-Evans schools. I had the privilege of serving on the Citizens Advisory Committee. I would like to compliment you and the administration of this district on this process. The committee was representative of our district and community. The information, while overwhelming in the magnitude of the needed resources examined, was complete and responsive to the questions of the committee. The committee was respectful of each other's opinions, listened well, asked good questions, and came to a consensus everyone felt good about. Having served on the previous mill levy advisory committee and worked on numerous education funding initiatives over the years, this was a much improved process, more inclusive, thoughtful, and a true citizen-advised process. I would add that the Success Foundation is working hard to raise charitable donations to support students in this district and will continue to do so. However, we realize the tremendous need for additional funding to adequately provide the education our students deserve. We wholeheartedly support a mill levy override effort and stand ready to participate in the next phase. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. And thanks to all of you who were involved and those of you who wanted to present this evening. Thank you very much. The next item is the work session report. Ms. Bria?
Board of Education President Roger DeWitt began the work session with open comments from board members and a review of the board calendar and upcoming events. Chief Academic Officer Dr. Stacy Dattery, Elementary Math and Literacy Coordinator Ginny Jensen, and Montfort Elementary teachers Bridget Sherwin and Melissa McLarty presented the proposal for the Core Knowledge Language Arts curriculum adoption for Montfort Elementary School. Dr. Dattery then presented with Greeley Central High School counselor Jamie Cranston and central teacher Carrie Smith on the revisions to policy IKF, graduation requirements. This item will be brought back for board action at the May 23rd board meeting. Superintendent Dr. Deirdre Pilch and members of the Citizens Advisory Committee presented the report from the committee. Dr. Pilch reviewed the process used to form the Citizens Advisory Committee, and Greeley Chamber of Commerce President Sarah McQuitty spoke about the meeting process the committee followed. Director of Communications Teresa Meyer gave an overview about the community polling done in February and the community and staff input meetings that were held, along with the telephone town hall meeting and the online survey. She reviewed the results from the community input meetings and the online survey. Director of Nutrition Services Jeremy West reviewed the recommendations of the Citizens Advisory Committee, which are to pursue a $12 million mill levy override, that district charter schools would receive funding, and there would be a 7-year sunset. Attending members of the committee reviewed the recommendations made by the committee groups they worked with. Weld County Assessor Chris Woodruff explained a mill levy override and the possible impact on property taxes for residential and commercial. Superintendent Dr. Deirdre Pilch reviewed her recommendations to the board, which are to review the recommendations from the Citizens Advisory Committee and the community input, identify and agree on funding priorities, and develop a package for a ballot resulting in an annual mill levy override. Winograd K-8 Principal Holly Bressler reviewed the final recommendation from the Citizens Advisory Committee for the board to begin work to develop a package for a 10.34 mill levy override, resulting in additional dollars of $12 million annually through 2023. Board members had time for discussion and questions, and that concluded the work session.
Thanks, Ms. Brea. We actually did quite a few things today. I'm sort of impressed.